Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to Championship Sunday at what has certainly been the best event so far this season. I'm sure the final day is going to deliver as well. 4 teams remain, the 4 perfect teams ready for the storylines. New York Subliners can still make the World Championship, but 4 teams have a realistic chance of walking away with the victory. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Thank you also to PrizePicks for supporting today's content. It's Championship Sunday, baby. Time to get involved in some overrunners. I've showed you guys before, you can kind of mix and match the entries here with other sports and esports. Today we're going to go for 2 that are aBeZy. We're going to go overall under 58.5 kills against OpTic in map 1 to 3. Going to take him under, and then honestly maybe Kenny goes above. I'm not really sure what to say yet. Okay, let's go for Kenny above, and I would be able to enter this one if I was from North America. If you use the link in the description box below to sign up for PrizePicks, they'll match any deposit up to $100. Let's crack straight on with the video. I mean, honestly, I mentioned yesterday I thought the viewership got up to like 120k. Turns out it might have been 140k plus. That's only seemingly including the mainstream. That's not just because the Call of Duty channel also co-streams it for a few thousand at a time. Some people I think end up watching that one by accident, so they think, okay, well, this stream only got like 3k views or something. It's because they're not on the main kind of, it's the co-stream effectively that the Call of Duty channel do. If you want to include Zuma and other co-streams as well on Twitch and stuff, like it might have been pushing 150k. So that's fantastic. Today could be even better if it goes, I mean, look, OpTic versus FaZe today for Major 4, like it doesn't get too much better than that. The storyline today are phenomenal. Like even Rambo reckons it could have been 250k plus if it was on Twitch. Not, you know, obviously it's difficult to say. YouTube can be good, but I think YouTube as a viewing experience is actually much better, and I think it will only continue to improve. But in terms of discovery and in terms of like culture, it's still not quite what Twitch can be. So hopefully next year it's both. That's the ideal world for me, that it's Twitch and YouTube, just like it is in Valorant. But look, the CDL thinks about money at the end of the day, understandably so. And we've seen these Prime Gaming ads coming into the thing, like Amazon owns, like Twitch, of course, owned by Amazon as well. So seems like, despite the fact they're streaming on YouTube right now, there's some Amazon property kind of coming into these streams. And maybe next year we're going to have a Twitch only situation, which I don't think would be the ideal situation, but like the CDL probably wants to sell the rights to someone so they can actually get that revenue source coming through. And the YouTube deal does seem to be at an end at the end of this season. This is one of the examples, if you guys haven't seen it. I think Prime Gamer was even up here on the Berlin. Like, I mean, yeah, there were some other ones flying around the map as well. So pretty interesting stuff. Like, I don't honestly, people saying it's kind of annoying having this stuff on the screen, which I do kind of understand. But I feel like if you watch most sports, there's ads all over the shop anyway in the game itself. So obviously, like the fact that it's a bit glitchy, the QR codes that move around a bit, is not necessarily fantastic to watch at times. But at the same time, I feel like it's well, if the CDL can actually make revenue doing this, and that's what's required to make this league profitable, then you know, I suppose we might just have to get used to it, like is pretty much the case in all other sports. Let's talk about FaZe versus Florida Mutineers. Interesting series actually. I mean, first of all, look at this. Cell comes around the corner here. I was like, okay, did he just like kind of scuff knife or whatever by accident, or did he actually go for the pre-fire there? I feel like he did actually go for the pre-fire here, because he kills his teammate Simp here, and then Cellium has like 20 HP. He knows that there's no way he actually gets this kill if he goes for the gunfights, so he seems to pre-fire the melee just in case he melees right at the time that Skies comes around the corner. But anyway, it's 1-1 at this point. Florida honestly looked really good in the map 2 search and destroy. Destroyed FaZe there, but FaZe won the map 1 comfortably. The problem is really for Mutineers is that 2 Will's okay at search and destroy, but he is like a consistent 0.6 in the respawns. Like there's no way you're ever going to win with your main SMG player who's dropping a 0.6 in respawn. So FaZe know that even if they lose the game 2, it doesn't matter, because they can just win the respawns without too much of a care in the world. They take Florida down pretty comfortably in the end. I mean, yes, 2 Will was actually just kind of destroying on Berlin, right? Cell went 12-0, and then 2 Will got him shaking. But yeah, it didn't take too much longer after that for FaZe to just close out a dominant 3-0 in the control, and then win the final round as well, or final hardpoint as well, 250-195. And yeah, 2 Will had a pretty rough time. It was kind of always looking this way. Like, look, 2 Will up against the Tiny Terrors, not generally going to end well with the way that he gets left out to dry by that Florida Mutineers team. Got to feel bad for him to a degree, because like his stint in the CDL might well be coming to a close now. Of course, look, they can still qualify for the World Championship depending on what happens today between New York Subliners, Los Angeles Thieves, and the other teams. But I certainly hope that they don't qualify for the World Championship, right? Because Florida, they certainly don't deserve it. New York are a far better team right now, but Florida somehow just deliver results at some of these majors, right? We've seen them, of course, place top 6 a couple of times. I think did they even sneak a top 4 one event? Like they're never particularly good, but they're always good for either an upset over OpTic, or they somehow win like a winners round 1 game, as they did here against Boston. If Boston don't give them Gavutu, probably Florida lose that series and get, you know, top 8 or top 12 or something, like you know, whatever would have happened there. But as it turned out, they got top 6, then of course got beaten in the winners bracket by New York, destroyed in the losers bracket of course by FaZe. And look, at the end of the day, Florida had never been particularly good. Their roster change they made, of course, was terrible. We all knew it at the time. Like getting rid of Vivid, trying to get Asim, it didn't work out. And yet, I don't think they deserve the World Championship. Their organizational decision making has been terrible the last couple of years. Like it's going to be really frustrating if they do, just because, again, it's another classic Florida situation where they make a change, and despite being pretty terrible, they somehow sneak out some results to the point where they can almost justify the decision making, and maybe they don't learn from their mistakes of last year. Because if they qualify for champs and they come like, I don't know, top 6 or something at champs, like if they manage to do another top 6 there, then the team might think, okay, actually this 3AR idea is pretty good. But at the end of the day, Skies and Awakening could be coming to the end of their contract. They might just have had enough of this organization. Like, and yeah, I'm certainly hoping that New York qualify, because they obviously can actually win the World Championships in New York based on the way they're playing. Florida, absolutely no chance if they do still somehow sneak in. But that, of course, does mean that Mutineers, their fate is no longer in their hands. They have made it by getting top 6 here, that still New York have to win one more series. Otherwise, New York would have already been confirmed. So in fairness, Mutineers did make the storylines more interesting, because we entered Championship Sunday still not knowing who is actually going to be here at our World Championship in a few weeks' time. But yeah, Mutineers top 6, FaZe move on. I mean, yeah, Cell drops at 1.44, Simp turned up as well. But I don't feel like FaZe looked completely unbeatable in this series, right? Their Search and Destroy wasn't great, and even in the respawns, like, I think their control is significantly better than OpTic right now, which does give them an advantage. But I certainly think that OpTic can do some damage in the respawns, in the hardpoints, and also in the Search and Destroys. FaZe haven't looked as convincing as they have done before, but still, they go from losers round 1, make the losers bracket run all the way to Championship Sunday. OpTic have done the same thing. I believe that's the first time that 2 teams from losers round 1 have made the run all the way through to match up, I think in the CDL history maybe, to match up in the losers finals or the losers semi-finals as it currently is, I suppose, to actually get to the Championship Sunday guaranteed top 4. But of course, New York subliners Crimsix, they're on the other side of things. GG's Florida, another step in the path. Of course, like, they needed Florida to lose to FaZe. That was a big series for FaZe to win, because they couldn't afford, if Florida won that series against FaZe, then New York would have to win this entire event in order to get the World Championship. And if Florida were to then beat OpTic or something in the losers finals and make the grand finals, then even if subliners were to win this event, it wouldn't have mattered, because like a second place for Florida would have been enough to guarantee it. But of course, that was never going to happen. We are becoming legendary, says Crimsix, right? So he's confident going into Sunday. They just need one more series, and like, this is perfect. This is why I've wanted Thieves to be good for some time, and I've been frustrated when they haven't been, because I mean, look how good this is on Championship Sunday. OpTic and FaZe are there, Thieves are there, and New York are there. The 4 biggest brands. Like, it couldn't end any better than this with the storylines we currently have. OpTic, FaZe again. Can Thieves get on top? Can New York make the World Championship? It's just so good all across the board. And this is the fact of the matter from Priestahh. New York has to either beat Los Angeles Thieves in their first series. If they beat Thieves in the winners finals, they get to the grand finals. That's New York guaranteed to the World Championship, because they just need 10 more points than they currently have based on their current placing to tie up with Florida Mutineers. And because they win the head-to-head tiebreaker over Florida now after their victory yesterday, that does mean that they'll make the World Championship. So New York just need 160 points. They can get that by making the grand finals. If they lose to Thieves, they then have to win their lower bracket game against either OpTic or FaZe to make the World Championship. So one of these 3 teams they've got to beat in order to make it. I think they certainly can do it. But I mean, yeah, honestly, the amount of storylines going into this Sunday are something else. So this is the way the points currently stack up. So a lot of these places are actually locked now. So FaZe number 1 guaranteed, OpTic number 2 guaranteed. Now, I believe that because a lot of these teams are already out of the tournament, things can still change here. With Thieves, then like, they can still get a better seed. But Toronto, I believe, are actually the 7th seed, because Boston and Ultra kind of tied at 180. Often for these graphics, they won't really take into account the tiebreakers. But Boston, I believe, win the head-to-head tiebreaker against Ultra 2-1 this season. So Ultra are the 7th seed, and that's locked, I believe, because New York can only get to 175 even if they win later on today. So Ultra are the 7th seed, OpTic are the 2nd seed. So we will be seeing OpTic versus Ultra first round of the World Championship. That is a big one. And if New York win today, that'll mean they're the 8th seed and FaZe are the 1st seed. We'll see FaZe versus New York at the World Championship. So it's already setting up to be very spicy indeed. But as you can see, New York, based on their current placing, are only 10 points off. They need the grand finals to qualify. Winning it, of course, would be nice, but they don't need to. They just need one more series victory. Now, of course, OpTic are playing the Atlanta FaZe, right? They're 5-0, I'm pretty sure, so far this season, right, against Atlanta FaZe in matches on LAN, online. Hasn't mattered for OpTic so far this year. We've talked about mental block, we've talked about whatever. Finally, we're getting a good rematch here between these 2 teams on LAN, like second matchup of the day, of course, and this is absolutely phenomenal, right? The OpTic guys are looking forward to it. They've talked about, okay, what happens here in a couple of interviews with MRags here, like, okay, what happens if it's an OpTic New York finals, or like, you know, who are the crowd going to support? But look, they're certainly going to have the crowd's favor in this particular series against FaZe. I mean, FaZe probably the last time for quite some time that FaZe are actually going to have a crowd cheer for them, right? Because the New York crowd wanted FaZe to win last night to take down the Florida Mutineers, of course, and put them in a position where they can actually go on to qualify for the World Championship. And Scumballs, I mentioned, I thought I'd share this for you guys real quick. Will he be returning for Modern Warfare 2? He still says to be determined, but Shotzi laughing in the background makes me think that probably he reckons the Scump's going to stay around, and the cheeky grin on his face as well.
I'm here with OpTic Texas after an insane series. Guys, walk me through the emotions. We got Dashy here and we got Illy here.
I mean, it was a pretty insane day. Obviously, that game 5 got a little sketchy, but glad we could pull through with a W for sure.
I mean, those are just matches you live for, just the Guerrillas.
And when you have the entire fan base behind you like that, that's got to power you through that round 11, right?
100%. I mean, it's just that extra motivation that we didn't think that we could ever, I guess, get, and just wanted to do it for them. So.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, just like what he said.
Scott, final question here for you. Are we going to see you come back for MW2?
TBD.
All right, and there you have it. Boys, good luck the rest of the way. Congrats on the win. And I'll keep rooting for you guys. Good luck.
So the OpTic guys certainly seem excited for this series. Insane series they're talking about against Toronto. Super proud of the boys clutching up right. They're going to need to do that against FaZe. I feel like against FaZe, it's never going to be an easy series. Like, I really hope this is a game 5, right? And we'll see what OpTic are made of again in a game 5 situation. And also FaZe as well, because I feel like they've been far from convincing in a lot of their kind of hard points especially. And also search and destroy as of late. And OpTic's surge, outside of throwing away a few 1v3s, has been pretty good. Like, it's not flawless by any means, but it's not been looking bad at all. They can do damage today, but I certainly feel like it's got to be their control which turns around. If they lose every control today, they're not going to win the tournament. They're going to need to do that, of course. And obviously the grand finals is a best of 9 regardless, so there's a couple of controls in there. Formal says, proud of you, kid. Finish it tomorrow. Dashie has been unbelievably consistent. I feel like the MVP race this year, despite the fact that Cellium hasn't won an event, he's just been so good. It's actually absurd. Like, Cellium's KD, his consistent impact is ridiculous. So I do think Cellium is going to be the MVP this season unless FaZe fail to win an event. And OpTic win another one, right? I feel like if OpTic win this event or the World Championship or something, I feel like Dashie is very much arguably in that conversation again. Right now, I think it's Cell relatively clear T1, but Dashie's number 2. And I mean, look, they're going to go back and forth today. A great battle, really. Dashie versus Cellium MVP battle in the actual series themselves. And Dashie's ready to go. Formal also giving credit to Envoy, though, right? Last year's, of course, OpTic Chicago team. About time you came different. Good luck in the rest. He was demolishing Toronto in that game 3 Berlin control. Had like a 1.5 over the course of the series. Going to be tough to keep that up, of course, but it was the SMG duo yesterday of Kenny and Envoy that really made the difference for Los Angeles Thieves. They're going to need to do that once again. This is the bracket then as it currently stands. So Thieves subliners in the upper side, FaZe OpTic in the loser side. As I say, I believe the first time that 2 teams have come both from a losers round 1 in the elimination bracket and made the run all the way through, both to elimination round 4, where only one team can get to top 3 or further on than that. And this then is the schedule for today, presented by Prime Gaming with the Twitch thing, or well, the Twitch colors, let's just say. So rather interesting what's going on there. But New York versus Los Angeles Thieves, first series of the day. Honestly, this day is just so good. Look at these teams, right? We don't have any like stupid stuff in here, like Florida somehow fluked it, or Boston Breach or something. Like, we've got proper teams in here that all have potential right now. Like, they're all playing like teams that can actually win this event. So it's so difficult to call, and Subliners certainly don't have an easy run either to make the World Championship here. So they play Los Angeles Thieves first up. Thieves have been playing flawless so far this tournament, right? I mean, they look so good. Whether their SMGs can maintain that level, I'm not really sure. Subliners, of course, playing in front of their home crowd as well. They just need this victory or the next one in order to qualify for champs. But I'm currently trailing in the breaking point predictions to I Hold Shift and Study. I think I'm on 27. They're both on 28. So I'm going to need to go big with the predictions today and make some pretty bold calls if I want to actually overtake them and win. So what I'm going to say is, because I'm sure the COD gods are sitting up there looking at this and thinking, wow, this is juicy. We can make some crazy storyline today. So I'm going to take Thieves to beat Subliners, maybe a game 5 or something, just like they did online. Then OpTic versus FaZe. Like, look, last time these teams matched up, I thought FaZe were going to win because I thought, okay, it's about time. But OpTic won anyway. So I'm going to keep with the storyline that OpTic have FaZe's number. They're going to win this series in front of a crowd that's certainly going to be supporting them. OpTic then win. And then you get a situation where it's Subliners versus, in fairness, either OpTic versus FaZe. Like, it doesn't really matter. But like, New York versus either of these 2 teams, they have to win to qualify for champs is so good. Like, I would honestly love to see New York versus OpTic or something. Crimsix has to beat Scump to make the World Championship. Like, so that's going to be my call. That OpTic beat FaZe, like, I don't know, somehow game 5. I'm just going to say all game 5s because it probably is going to happen again, to be honest. And then OpTic play New York to qualify for the World Championship. New York win that one, I don't know, 3-1 maybe. I'll drop the game 5 idea for this one, and then at that point, New York have qualified for the World Championship in the grand finals against the home crowds, and they're going to beat Los Angeles Thieves in the grand finals just like they did at the Prime Classic, with the pressure off, and show dominance going into the World Championship, right? I mean, yeah, that's a pretty crazy storyline, but I'm sure the COD gods are cooking something for us up today. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.